What a beautiful setting, and it's hard to believe this is a beach just a hop, skip and jump from Newcastle and a little bit further down the coast, Sydney. And the sports fish crew have headed south to catch up with a bit of a unique little holidaying family. They live in Sydney, but this is what they call their holiday home, and they spend their time enjoying the sights and sounds of Port Stephens and the local beaches. And we've headed down to see just exactly how they fish this place, because they tell me they catch a truckload of fish here, both in the estuary and the wonderful beaches which sit around this great area. We're going to find out exactly how they do it and hopefully learn a few things along the way. Tim, the boys and I have cruised the beach and we've found what looks like a really nice low tide gutter. It's nice and near shore and hopefully it's going to hold a few good whiting and bream. And because of that, I've set up a rig that's going to match my beachworm baits and hopefully produce a couple of those fish fairly shortly. The rig involves initially a trace from my bottom swivel, 40 to 50 centimetres of 5 kilo platypus line. I've got a number 2 mustad hook, and I've got a nice little bit of red tubing which adds a bit of colour and length to a worm bait. Now on top of that, it's quite important when you're fishing in the surf, I've got a running sinker, and above that I've got mounted another swivel. And what that does is it allows me the functions of a running rig, but it also, the top swivel helps reduce some of the line twists which you can get when a bait's getting washed around in the surf. All in all, a nice running rig. It's nice and light, it's going to wash around with the surf. That's going to hold a worm bait really nicely and hopefully attract the attention of some nice bread and butter species fairly soon.
I really loved coming up to this place. 15 kilometres of beach, just a wide variety of species to catch. Bream, whiting, salmon, flathead, it's nature, it's fantastic.
The Hubble beachworm is one of the most popular baits on the beach for good reason. It'll tempt just about anything that comes into the beach for a feed. And the key to catching fish on it is to rig it the right way. I'll quickly run you through how I like to rig them. First, break off a piece of worm which is roughly going to match the size of your hook, and then below the first tag end, start to thread that gradually onto your hook. Keep rolling it and bunching it through until you get close to the last tag end, and then rather than running right through it, I pierce the worm, I leave a little bit of a tag end lying, and then I push the worm physically over the top eye of the hook. And so here you have a worm bait that's going to stay on your hook, survive a bit of the wash of the ocean, and hang around long enough for a fish to come along and think it looks good enough to eat, and you'll be in the money very shortly, hopefully. The beach is starting to change complexion, and that's because the day is getting later. Through the early parts of the day and when the sun was up, we went and caught our beach worms and we fished some of those deeper pockets for your bream and your whiting and your dart. Now, as that sun gets lower behind the dunes, this is a time where some of those bigger predators like your tailor and your salmon that have sat out behind those breakers for most of the day, they're going to come into these deeper parts and feed because there's plenty of bait fish and other options for them in here. Safer for them at this time of the day. I've now got a pilchard on some gang hooks sitting out there. I'm hoping there's toothy critters out there that we can have a little bit of a play with fairly soon. So anyway, hang around, we'll see what happens. That's got a bit of go on it. Last light is setting on the beach and the predators are coming out to hunt. Had a pilly just sitting out there, not far off the beach, just at that ledge which sits at the base of the waves. Pilly on gang hooks, it's just been slammed. This is why you sit on the beach, for moments like this. Oh, he's got some power. There's a lot of merit in hanging around the beach when the light gets low because The bigger guys are not shy about coming in really close to look for a feed. Oh, here we go. What do we got here? That's a better fish. Oh, that's a lovely fish. That is classic evening time tailor. We're about a K from the mouth, the entrance of Port Stephens. Nice little gutter, soaking a pilly. That's what you can catch if you put a bait in the right spot and persist as that sun goes behind the dunes. What a beautiful fish, aren't they just majestic predators? Those big sharp teeth, they're made for speed, big tail, and just premium hunters. And they're in on the beach if you're here waiting for them. It's a beautiful morning on Bennett's Beach, just on the outside of Port Stephens, and I headed up here yesterday with Tim and his family up from Sydney. We beat the Friday afternoon traffic and we hit the beach, caught some beach worms and started mucking around with some of the local bread and butter fare. We've got a beautiful morning now, which is predicted to head into a southerly, and we're going to spend our time a little bit on the beach and try and see if we can dredge up a few more whiting and hopefully a brim or maybe a flathead. Then as that southerly blows, the beauty of a place like Port Stephens is there's many other options, and the plan is then to head into that estuary and see if we can get the soft plastics out and hit a flathead or two. But for the moment, before that southerly comes, what better place to spend a Saturday morning than soaking a bait on a beach like this? Hard to believe it's only a stone's throw from some of our major cities. I saw the bite, he'd give it to you.
Yeah.
They go hard. Oh, that's a cracker. There we go. Mate, that's a very nice whitey.
Yeah, she
And
just grabbed it and took off with it.
I can understand you would have called it for a dart, because the way he crunched that, I was walking past you and I saw that rod tip get whacked. The way he pulled, I thought, yep, that's fighting like a dart, which shows you how tough these little guys are and why they're not just a great feed. They love a well-presented bait, and you can see how hard it is to hold him at the moment. They are just a ball of muscle with that big propeller. And
they've got to be fit to survive in that swell.
It's a tough environment, and they do well to live in it, but that's what we're here for. Nice, one of the classic bread and butter species of the beach. And the boys have said we haven't caught enough for their dinner yet, so we're still working hard at it, but I reckon a couple of nice fillets on that and a few more of those. And we've got lunch or dinner sorted, so we're halfway there. All right, get this one away. If you first arrived at the beach and you're looking for where to fish, simply look for deeper water, areas of darker greens and blues where the waves aren't breaking. The less white water, more chance it's deep. That's where you want to put your baits.
Different seasons here. Winter is definitely salmon. Salmon, big schools of salmon through here. Just see the big dark patches. Might throw a metal slug at them, try and encourage them to bite. Sometimes they're feeding, sometimes they're not. It's quite amazing. You see these big schools and sometimes they're just not feeding. No matter how much you throw at them, there's no feeding. Other times you'll just throw a soft plastic and twitch it twice, and it's very visual because the water's very clear. You'll see them come up and smash it and off you go. So that's winter. Summer is just your bread and butter species, the whiting, the flathead and the brim, and that keeps you busy enough.
Oi, see a nice flash? That's a nice flash. What do we got?
Looks like a little brim to me, mate.
Not that small.
Nice fish,
mate.
some flathead.
Just hopping a plastic for flathead. It's always the way when you want to catch a flathead.
Yeah.
Dirty old brim getting in the way, what a problem.
Here it comes.
Nice fish, mate. Oh yes. Wash him up with the waves. Lovely, mate.
Nice.
Just, we fished the beach yesterday afternoon, the other side of Port Stephens. We've come over to Shoal Bay, which is a pretty popular land-based spot. I can see why. Really nice drop-off, patches of weed, acres and acres of shorefront. And what a pretty backdrop it is too, but bread and butter species abound. You've got your flathead hanging around the weed beds, and mate, that's a nice chunky bream.
Little bycatch.
I think, yeah, what a problem. That's about 5th cast of the morning. We got up a little bit late. We were going to be at first light, but gentleman's hours, can't complain with that.
Thank you.
And little soft plastic. There's something so simple and effective about these days, the hopping soft plastics and the huge variety of soft plastics on the market that now, I think in Australia, really imitate the popular bait sources that we get around here, our prawns and our bait fish. And it is such a simple and easy way of fishing, just simply keeping that close to the bottom, jiggling it looking like a wounded offering, and your bread and butter species climb all over them. That's a really nice fish, mate.
Smacked it, yep.
Yeah, well, I reckon where there's one of these, there's more. And you told me how good the flathead fishing is around here, so I'm really keen to see one of these guys coming out. Anyway, we'll get him back in the water.
Let's get him going, yep.
All right, mate, good job. Tim and I are using little light spin outfits to fish this area, which is, they're enjoyable and also really effective outfits to use. You can carry them around, cast all day with them without getting worn out, and they're very effective. Now the retrieve that we're using to do this, it's very simple. What you want to do is firstly cast your soft plastic to the edge of a colour change and then let it sink down to that area. That's the most likely place that a predator is going to be holding. And then watch your line. We're both using braided line. You can see them relatively easily. And watch that line. The moment your soft plastic hits the bottom, you'll get a little bend in that line. It just relaxes. Once it's done that, shake the rod tip and just lift that plastic a foot or so off the bottom. And then mend that little bit of loose line and let it go back to bottom. Repeat that retrieve all the way back to your feet, hopefully feeling a bit of a tap or a bite on the way back, and you're in the money. Anyone that tells you soft plastics fishing is complex, I don't think they're doing it quite right. Give you some, this looks all right. Well done, mate.
Nice.
Very nice, Tim.
Thank you.
What a predator. I'll tell you what, he's one of our favourite estuary fish to catch because they're everywhere. They eat lures, baits so well. You know, they sharpen incredibly shallow water and they're so accessible for, you know, like we've got no boat today. We're on the old Foot Falcon.
That's it.
Trudging the estuary. And we've explored, you know, we've covered a few k's of shoreline now. Knocked over some nice bream.
Have a look how fat he is, Nigel. There's plenty of bait fish around, so
He's chewing.
Yeah.
And yeah, and like, you know, I like your tactic, mate. All we've got here is a little bit of a sandy ledge sitting off a rock wall, and behind us it drops into some deeper water and there's plenty of weed, so these guys are going to be well and truly in numbers in this spot.
Ambushing.
Yeah, and you've got a really good technique to catch them too. You know, it's simple, soft plastics, 1/4 ounce jig head, really nice natural bait fish colour there. I think it's a little squidgy that you're using.
Yep. And
just hopping it through the likely looking spots. Anyone can do it.
Including me.
If we can do it,
Including
anyone
me,
can do
yeah.
it. Pretty majestic, old flatty, look at that. Shows you how well camouflaged they are. Made to hunt. All right. We've collected a crowd behind us, so a few other shore-based anglers going, well, you guys can do that. I can do that too. Next one, mate, let's go. All right.
Best part of bringing the family here is the fact that we can spend some great quality time. You know, my 2 boys, Harry and Max, and Kate and I just spending time together, exploring, fishing, camping, cooking barbecues, cooking fresh, beautiful fish you've just caught. There's nothing better than sitting around after you've caught some fresh fish that you've filleted it up, put it on the barbecue and have a glass of wine and watch the sun go down. Life's good.
It's Bill Klassen here from The Fishing Show, and if you like this instructional video and want to learn more, it's simple. Go to fishingshowtv.com.au and see a whole host of additional videos.